Hello and welcome back. It's Niles here. Happy Frostivus season. Today's episode will be the last one we cover about entities, especially focus on inputs and output system. I have a quick demonstration here just to show you the end result, what we will be covering in this video. So let's watch what we can do. First, I will move the anti-image to the overlay. Wait a bit. You can see the radiant creep start moving. I can follow him until I got blocked by the path here, and I cannot interfere with the fight of the two creep are fighting. Let's do that in a moment. All right. So before we dive into Source 2 Hammer, I have drawn some diagram to just to act as a cheat sheet so you can refer and understand more about the entity input and output system. The first section is I want to talk about there's two ways that define an entity uniqueness. The first is the entity index. Usually when the map is compiled and built, an ID will be assigned to an entity by the source 2 engine. Just an integer, a number. This index we can use to query later using vscript. Another way to define an entity is by using the target name, or for short, just name. Multiple entities can have the same name, and it will be mainly used to trigger input and output system, which we'll cover in the next section of this video. We, as a model, will ourselves set the value for the target name. The target name can be anything, except for some special case that reserved words we cannot use. Also on the next session. Moving on, I have a clearer definition of inputs and outputs. Let's first cover the outputs here. Basically, outputs are events that fire when states defined in entity A change. Some example can include when A is die or something touch the entity A, or basically some time-driven outputs like on-night arrive or no nearby entities. Anything you can think of, it will be the outputs for entity A. So outputs is the only way that we can trigger the inputs. For example, if an entity A has the output name on die, it will call something inputs here. Inputs are commands that change behaviors of entity A. It also can be anything. The definition of it will be especially for that entity class. I just list some example here. For example, destroy self, give itself 100 health, mana, anything you can think of. Change the current time today and or be invulnerable. Anything else, just for example. One note is that outputs, only outputs are able to change the inputs of entity A. Entity A is not a name, it's just an example. Moving on, final notes is these two diagrams will draw how each entity is able to trigger others. For example, I have entity A right here. Its output triggers input of entity with name radiant creep. Then source 2 will look for any entity that has the name and trigger its input. For example, if we have these two entities B and C here that have the name radiant creep, that's what outputs of A want to target, then both of it will be triggered. There's many special cases that, for example, we have entity D. An entity can also trigger itself by using a special name, special target name. Is exclamation mark self, like this one we use here. There's many other special names, but today we'll cover the self name only. Let's head back to Hammer to actually do what we have seen in the first session of the video. All right, we are back with the old school hammer. In the last video, we have messed around with some entities, mesh, and point entities. So far, we have created two crypts that fight each other here. What if I have a new scenario that I want a radiant crypt to stand outside the range and only start attacking when our hero anti-mage walk into some specific location. Let's first do that by finding the crypt good guy over here. Press T. I already at T, and I move in far away from the die crypt around here. Okay. So to control how the crypt moves, let's first press Shift B. I'll create a small block here, just around the overlay. Enter, raise it up. Next, I'm gonna go to Browse, search for trigger, and also apply the trigger material by hover on top it and press Shift T. This, after the map build, it will be hidden from the player. For now, it's just a normal mesh. Let's tie the selected mesh to entity. Right. Okay. So our first logic, whenever our hero walk in here, we want our radiant crypt to start walking toward the die crypt here. To do that, we need an additional entity called point corner. Let's go to the entity tool and search for point corner. Sorry, it's path corner. Yeah, not point, it's path. I'm gonna put it near the die crypt, which is this one. Left click. Okay, so let's double click on the trigger Dota here. Okay, so now it's a triggered entities. In here we have many tabs. We will focus on outputs and input tab over right here. Let's create a new output. Let's see which trigger and trigger Dota class have. We have many, but we will use on start touch, so it will fire when the anti-mage hero touch this trigger. So the target entity name, we need a target name enabled to trigger its input. All right, so leave it for now. Let's select this one. Oh, let's go to selection tool, grab it here. So let's double click on the NPC database. In here you can see there's the name property. I will name it Radiant Crypt. Hit enter and save it. All right. The next one is, I'm gonna get back to the trigger here. Go to the outputs, currently not unusable. The target entity name, I can select the Radiant Crypt right over here. In many cases, you want to use this dropper tool to select it within the map space. I can demo it right now and click on the drop tool and select this one. It will autofill the name here. So far we have a target and entity. So we want to trigger its input. We want to trigger the input of Radiant Crypt. Let's see what it has. It also has many inputs we can use, but to fit with our scenario, I want to use move to attack or move to position aggressive. You can use these two, but I'm gonna use with the move to position aggressive. All right, so where to move to is the fourth parameter. We want a target entity. So in here, let's file set the path corner entity the last time we put it. Also use the eyedropper tool and put it on here. Currently set it has no target name, and the source engine asks us to give it one. Let's add a waypoint. waypoint underscore 1. Probably later I'm going to use more waypoint. Hit OK. And now we are good. So to recap, whenever our hero start touching the trigger, the radiant creep will moving ahead the die to attack. One more thing is I don't want to trigger this too early. Like I want to delay like 3 or 4 seconds until the radiant creep start actually running toward the target waypoint. To do that, let's head back to the output of trigger. And in here, you can see the after a delay in seconds up. I set it to 3 seconds. Save it. Okay, cool. That's is quite set up and it should work right now. But I want to introduce you guys one more entity we can use. Let's press Shift E and search for tutorial NPC blocker. We want to block the player from interfering with the fight. So let's put it somewhere here and here. These two NPC blocker needs to connect to each other by a name. So let's give it a name N, and the others will be start. Underneath, you can see there other blocker point. I will use the dropper tool. It won't work. Let's name it N. And you can see there's a line here. It will block the player. But we only want to block if the creep has passed this line. So first we will start disable it. And we uncheck the hidden to allow some visual that we are being blocked. Okay, so how can we toggle this on? By go to Shift B and create another trigger. And press Enter and raise it up a bit. I can just press R and rotate it a bit, yeah, to like more align with my path. Okay, so now it's also a normal mesh. Let's tie the selected mesh to entity. Also keep it a trigger Dota. But one thing I want to change is I want it to only trigger when it's a creep. So I will uncheck this is real hero and scroll down and then check the is creep. Great. Now I'm gonna double click this, go to output, and my output name also the same as the other trigger on start touch. And the target entity name I think will be the start entity here. It can either be one of these two. I will choose start. Via this input, we're gonna enable it. All right. With the parameter override of, we don't need this. Sometimes the input only need to call the function name without any parameter. Okay, so if the creep pass it, it will be blocked and we cannot interfere with the fights. Of course, you can blink, but it's for demonstration. Let's not use blink and interfere with the fight. Okay, so I think that's it for this demonstration. I hope it will work. Let's go to File, Build Map. Let's make sure these two are tick and press Build. Save. Yes. All right. Here we are in the cliff again. Let's +1 point blink and blink down here. Now I will try to work over and wait for 3 seconds. Now the creeps start moving. Good. Let's chase him. Oh, now I cannot interfere with the fight. You can somehow watch the fight until it's over. But I guess the die will win based on the health. Okay, off topic. Anyways, that's it for this video. There are a lot to cover, but I hope this somehow introduces you to the entity system, which is very useful when you create a game in Source Engine. In the next video, we will focus on the grid map which is very cool and learn a lot of way to navigating units. I hope you had a great time on this Christmas season. I will see you in the next video. Bye.